this evening. I'm very happy to be here with my panel of fashionistas. And thank you to Nooneartist as well for having this evening as well here. So I'm going to get started. We've got Rachel Holland, who is a... nice round of applause, thank you. Like a round of applause. Feel free to interact at any point. This is quite a kind of casual affair. So Rachel Holland is a freelance stylist and art director. And then to her left, I've got Marta Brodanska. Thank you. She's a photographer, specialising in fashion. And on the end, we've got Aksha Fernandez, who is a shoe designer. Do take a look afterwards at her lovely shoes that are displayed above the E here. Those are some of her original designs. So I'm going to start off by asking you to introduce yourselves in more detail and just tell me how you came to do what you do. Yes, yeah, go ahead, Aksha.
So I bought into shoes a couple of years back. I originally studied architecture, and during my course with architecture.
Can everybody hear okay? It's a little bit quiet.
Yeah, really,
hold the mic
okay.
a little closer.
Yeah. So while studying architecture, I dabbled into accessories and shoes. Then later went on to study in Italy. Got really interested in fashion and the craft of shoemaking. So yeah, that's how the journey actually started.
Can everyone hear? Yep. Alright, so well, my start was quite unusual, I would say. So basically I graduated from International Relations at University of Warsaw, University in Poland obviously. So I wasn't really connected with fashion from the beginning, but after my bachelor degree I decided to move to London, as I was a little bit fed up with politics and economy. So London inspired me, and I found great contacts, and I decided to go into fashion photography, as I was always into photography, fashion, obviously. So it was always my hobby, was always my passion. And that's how it started. I started as a food photographer, to be honest, and I discovered natural talent for creating tempting and attractive objects. And after it was kind of breakthrough, it was kind of unusual night for me. So I was spending lovely evening with my friends at the restaurant, and we've been talking through about our career, about our goals, and I was kind of frustrated because I wasn't quite sure if food photography is my thing, if politics is my thing, is photography my thing. And at one point I noticed British Vogue at my friend's eye, and I was like, oh my gosh, that's it. I love photography, I love fashion, and I think that's the thing what I really, really want to do. And I know it sounds a little bit ridiculous, but it was kind of like breakthrough for me, and that's how it started. The day after, I was so excited, I was like, oh my gosh, let's start it. I started organizing photo shoots, and excitement stayed, and I'm organizing photo shoots to this day.
Hi, so I do styling and art direction. I'm also the women's wear fashion editor at Folk magazine. I became a stylist kind of by accident. I worked as a designer in film and TV for several years, and then I had what could only be described as a kind of mid-20s crisis. I kind of fled my job, moved down to Brighton and got a job in a coffee shop serving coffee. And then from there onwards, I kind of realised that I was really into fashion. even though it was something that I'd always shunned and thought, oh, it's way too frivolous, and how can you possibly make it your career, you know? So I kind of fought through all of those barriers, and I'm here as a stylist today. But it happened very fluidly. I started working with photographers. I was kind of looking at set design, and I tried lots of different things to get to that point. And then it turned out that I was doing styling, and that's what I'm doing right now. But I mean, it could change. I always feel like your career can just progress as you progress.
I think one of the things, you've all got very different stories, and you know, Marta and Rachel, you kind of self-taught yourself along the way, whereas actually, you know, you went to school and got yourself an education. How do you make that decision? You know, do I need to go to school in order to make it in this career, or do I just roll with it and see what happens?
Yeah, I mean, yes, I did go to school. Officially, I did get a degree, but in school I was only taught how to design and only the fashion side of things. Rest I learned on my own while working with the factory, learning how to manufacture, working on the business side of things. I don't think that a school can teach you that. So I think it's tricky. There is no definite answer to it.
Well, in my case, we're talking about fashion industry. When I realized I really want to work in fashion, I just wanted to check, I just wanted to have a look how fashion industry works from inside. Because I had a bachelor degree already, I didn't want to start another one. So I just prefer to actually do unpaid tests from the beginning, because that's how we all start, and just see how it goes. So in this case, at the beginning, I was doing unpaid shoots. I was happy to do that. And at the same time, I was doing some part-time, full-time, sometimes jobs in coffee shops as a receptionist, and I was investing in my equipment. And when I actually felt more confident, when I actually realized that that's my dream, that's the thing which I really, really feel that I really want to do, I decided to apply for my master, and yeah, I got into my master at London College of Fashion, so I'm studying in September, and yeah, I'm hoping my career will be developed, and I will gain more knowledge.
Well, I studied design, so I haven't studied fashion at all. I'm completely self-taught. I didn't even assist anybody, which I wouldn't recommend, because I think there's easier ways of getting your dream career without kind of making life really hard for yourself. But that's what I personally decided to do, because I'm quite bloody-minded, and I'm much better when I'm working for myself. So that's what I did. I'm entirely self-taught. I've learned through trial and error. I've made loads of mistakes. But I mean, I think it depends on the individual. I think if you're a strong individual, you can do that. You know, if you've got a very strong vision, a strong idea of what you want, then that's okay. But I think I would always recommend assisting someone who is doing the job that you want to do and learning that way. And that way you'll make more connections, more contacts. You also don't have to make loads of mistakes. You can watch the person you're working for make them, and you know, you can learn through them and learn through their career. So yeah, I wouldn't recommend it, but I mean that's personally what I've done.
And then actually, because you initially trained as an architect, would you say that has an influence on your shoe designs now?
Yeah, aesthetically, I do think I still carry on certain features of architectural details, and there's a certain vocabulary. I keep repeating these lattice patterns, which are quite visible in my shoes. shoe aesthetics. But not just that, I think I take in a lot from structurally how a shoe is constructed. I take a lot of inspiration from how I would construct a building or a space. Just the use and the scale is very different. But yeah, and even managing business, managing suppliers, it's very similar to architecture. There's so many components in a shoe, many people don't know about. But you have like 20 different suppliers for a shoe, so it's very similar in that sense to architecture.
And Marta, you mentioned your MA that you're going to go do at London. And what's that MA in?
It's fashion media production.
And you mentioned, because I obviously read a little bit about their bios before this evening, and you said that you're really interested to learn more about fashion film and about 3D holographic videos, which you think are the future of fashion. Tell us more about that.
Oh well, so yes, I'm really excited to be starting my Master of Fashion Media Production, for which I got a scholarship of £4,000. It was a Vice-Chancellor scholarship, which is even more exciting. And yeah, so I really want to expand my knowledge, because what I believe these days we need to be multitasking. If a client is looking for if you're looking for a professionalist, is looking for a person who will be able to provide as well as still, as well as video, and as you mentioned, holographic videos, which I believe is truly fashion future. So I already have some experience with fashion film. I produced, I was responsible for post-production of video from London Collection, which will be available on my website in a couple of days, so you can check it out. And yeah, and holographic videos. I'm doing my research, and I'm incredibly excited to start learning more about it from September, and gathering my creative team, because obviously I will need visual artists, sound engineers as well to help me out with that. Basically, holographic videos experience was just a lot from the first sight when I saw Stefan Eckert's holographic show from 2010 It was just like, oh, I was completely blown away. It was such an amazing thing. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, just have a look at, just Google it, holographic fashion shows, and you will know what I'm talking about. It's an amazing, amazing thing. That's what I'm going to work on.
I'm definitely going to be YouTubing that later. Rachel, your job is very much, and Marta as well, but is very much about collaborating, and you almost kind of don't have a job unless you've got a team around you, which working freelance must be quite hard. How do you decide who you're working with, and how do you get out there and meet those people?
That's a good question. So, really, how I decide I'm going to work with someone is how good their work is. So, I'm looking for a photographer, I'll go through their portfolio, I'll judge them on their worst work. So really I'm looking to get blown away by their work. But more than anything, I'm looking for something really special that no one else is doing. And I know that could encompass almost anything, so I guess for me, personally, what I'm looking for is originality, but not, it's really hard to explain this, but not in a kind of like, I don't even know if I can explain this. Not in a kind of like, it doesn't need to kind of be in a like really edgy or really kind of like trying to shock, for the sake of it. I'm looking for really good quality and like a story and a narrative, and the ability to tell a story through images. So, and then for the rest of the team, I'm just looking for really, really good work and good quality and great images and good people in their portfolios, and that's about it.
And another kind of, when you're starting out in the fashion industry, there can be an awful lot of unpaid work. And I think that's something... Exactly. But, you know, it's difficult, and I think most people feel like they need to start from somewhere, and doing unpaid work can be, you know, their route into things. But then how do you make that jump from, you know, doing internships and doing test shoots to making it your living and your career?
Well, with what I do, when you start out, you are basically, it's what's called testing. So you're creating images just for your book, and you might not necessarily be making them for anybody. So you're just literally creating images, and then you might try and get a magazine to take them. And then really, when your first magazine starts taking your images, that's when you can kind of build upon that. In terms of unpaid work, I don't think if you're doing any commercial or client work, or anyone who's making money off your work, you should do that work for free. So I mean, personally, I've never done that. I have done free work for magazines, and I continue to do free work for magazines, because I think that's one thing no one told me when I got into styling, that most editorial is, you know, especially with the smaller magazines, there's really little money, or not much, or nothing. You know, and then obviously some of the more commercial magazines, then you will get paid for that. So I think it's really a case of balancing what you want to put in your book, what you want to be represented by image-wise, and what you want to become known for, versus the commercial work. And I think when you're starting out, the only way to really make money is to be an assistant to someone else, and then to create your own work in your spare time.
Well, so my point of view is, well, so basically we live in capitalist world, right? And as we all know, a capitalist system, it's basically focused on profits. So let's say you've got this big client, big budget, and this big client would like to present his product in the most attractive and tempting way, and of course, which is fair enough, he would like to make profits. So having, for example, like freshly baked graduate, or person who just decided to be a fashion photographer, and let's say, or another side, Mario Testino, who's got like 15 or much more, 30 years of experience working in the fashion industry. Of course, he would go for Mario Testino because he is sure that he will provide amazing images. So I think it's all about the experience, and it's all about the hard work, because there is no other way than hard work. We need to really, really believe in ourselves, and we need to really give 100%, sometimes for free. Well, at the beginning it's mostly for free, in order to build amazing portfolio and to get the best images. We need to learn on our mistakes, and what I truly believe and what happened to me, that's how I started. I was doing my shoots for free. Sometimes I was paying from my own pockets for particular accessories and stuff, because sometimes I was responsible for styling as well. I was sometimes, when I had makeup cancellation, I was doing makeup, so it was quite tough. But what I believe, if you truly believe in yourself, work hard, it's gonna happen. It's not gonna happen within one day, of course, but it's gonna happen. You just need to believe in yourself and just do what you do. Don't listen people who say, no, you're not gonna do that. Just do what you feel is right, and it's gonna happen to you.
Yeah, I kind of agree with Rachel, right?
And because you know, you've obviously started up your own shoe label, as opposed to joining an established brand, which, you know, means you're not only shoe designer, but you're, you know, businesswoman and marketer and everything else. Why did you make that decision?
Well, when I graduated, I did want to work for a company. But again, when I graduated, it was the recession, very few jobs. Shoe design jobs, almost nothing. So I did do internships, did them for a year or two. then my learning process, my learning capacity, it was just getting stagnant, wasn't learning much. I decided then I'll get into it, design, search for a manufacturer, do it on my own. At that time I wasn't completely sure whether it was the right decision or not. But now with time, I really believe, I started to believe in it even more, and I think this was the best thing that I could have done. Because if I joined the company, I would just been a designer, I wouldn't have known the processes of manufacturing, the business side of things, marketing, PR. So I think, yeah, that's the best decision.
And Marta, because as you mentioned, you started out as a food photographer. That must have been a very, very different world to fashion. What is it about fashion that captures your imagination a bit more than food?
Food photography was an amazing experience and quite interesting journey. But I was missing something, and I discovered was that it was basically people. I love working with people. I find people very interesting, and I love focus on their beauty and on their personalities. And I believe it's such an amazing thing to have this amazing personality in front of your camera, and with a team of stylists, with makeup artists, hairstylists, with an amazing location in the background. You can create amazing piece of art, and that's what I really like about the fashion photography. But well, of course, like as we all women knows, it's all about the clothes, the sparkle shoes. It's lovely to see a different collection of different garments every day. It's just such a nice and enjoyable work. I wouldn't change it for anything else.
Rachel, as a stylist, I mean, I don't know what everybody else's experience here is of stylists, but I think it's pretty obvious what a photographer does, and it's pretty obvious what a shoe designer does. And I think for those of you who are in the fashion world, what does a stylist do, and what makes a good stylist?
There's different types of styling you can do. There's the editorial, which is magazines. There's the red carpet styling, which is celebrities going to an event or going to a red carpet event. There's the personal styling, which is kind of styling regular people, or people who can afford it, basically. And then album artwork, or with a specific celebrity to work on their brand and create that image. But basically the stylist is in charge of the clothes and dressing the model or the person or whoever's being dressed. But then it's so much more. It's art direction too. It's often putting together concepts, ideas, branding ideas, bringing a team together so it veers into production. It seems like it's a really glamorous job, but it has its ups and downs. It's hard work, and it requires a lot of kind of thinking on your feet and being quick and having quick reactions, and being able to work in a quite a spontaneous way, because it's not like an office job or a normal job. It's you're dealing with lots of samples and pieces coming and going, and your assistants and your team. It depends, and I think as well you have to decide what kind of stylist you're going to be. So I like to think I'm like editorial, celebrity, and that's what I feel most comfortable doing. But it really depends. But you can't get into it thinking it's going to be glamorous, because it's really quite hard crawling work at times.
A lot of dragging big heavy suitcases across the tube.
Well, I have assistants. Well, no, I do some of that too. I have this kind of motto that I wouldn't make my assistants do anything that I wouldn't do, because I just don't want to be that kind of person in fashion. But yeah, it's hard. I can be crawling around on my hands and knees, putting shoes on someone, or I've got a celebrity butt naked in front of me, and I've got to get clothes on them quickly, because they're 5 minutes away from having a massive strop about something, or you have to be good with people, and you have to be able to get on with lots of people, and to make people feel good, most of all, because whoever you're working with their body, and that's very, very personal. So you have to be sensitive and attuned to people's needs, and not like leaving someone stood for 10 minutes naked and thirsty, and it's very, very personal. So you have to hone those people skills.
And my last question for all of you, obviously we're here in Lights of Soho, which for those of you who haven't been here before, opened earlier this year, which is not only a very awesome light art gallery, but is also a members bar for the creative community in Soho and in London, to use it as a meeting place. And we're very lucky to be in this amazing city doing what we do. And so why did you choose London?
Initially it was language, but then gradually when I started living here, the diversity, that was just amazing. I come from India and I've now grown up in, India is really big, and I've lived around the country. While I was growing up, then I moved to Italy where I met my husband, who's Swedish, and London just made sense for us. Just fit in.
Well, I think it's all about the inspiration and the diversity, the culture which you've got in London. It's if you are smart observator, you can find inspiration everywhere, in the park, in the restaurant, in the street. Go to Shoreditch or go to Brick Lane and you can be inspired by the street art. I think London is one of the cities where you cannot find the same place anywhere else. It's just incredible, and I think what's the most important thing is people, because you can meet people from all around the world, you can make friends, and what's the most important, you can create art with people from Russia, Brazil, and all countries. It's just incredible what you can create, who you can meet, and you can be inspired every day by different events and different occasions.
I feel really boring because I'm English, so it was really an easy choice for me because London is the capital of the UK and it's kind of where everything's happening. But really, like if I wasn't English and I was going to choose somewhere, I think London's fantastic. I really vibe off the architecture, and I really vibe off all the kind of like history, and just you're right, you can turn a corner and you see something new, and it's really exciting. And also as well, it's so close to Europe. You can literally get across to Paris, Milan. You can even get to New York in like 8 hours. So it's a great place to be, and there's lots of really fantastic British designers. So I'm proud to be from here, and also to be here right now.
Awesome, thank you. And that is my last question for them. But we've got some time to open up to the floor if anybody else wants to ask them some questions about anything you like. It can be about their jobs, it can be about what shoes you should wear at the weekend, or whatever you want. Don't be shy.
Yeah, shall we start? Yeah, I have a question, Rachel. What looks good on everyone? Do you have kind of advice?
The question, in case anyone didn't hear it, was what looks good on everyone?
Sunglasses and a leather jacket. And jeans. White t-shirt, leather jacket, sunglasses, jeans, Converse or heels, whatever. Yeah, you'll look cool if you wear that. Just on anyone.
Okay.
It's actually a question for all of you now. So is there something at the moment that inspires you inside or outside of your field in your own work?
Who inspires their work?
Well, for me it's other designers, like I love Margiela, and I love all the kind of Swedish brands, and but artists as well. I've got a kind of raging obsession with Georgia O'Keeffe at the moment, and strong women, so kind of Frida Kahlo and all the kind of like Joan Jett, basically badass women inspire me.
Well, I'm inspired by many artists, but my latest designer inspiration is Sophie Webster. I love her shoes so much. They're just breathtaking. They look like from fairy tale.
Surely it's not actual shoes.
Yeah, oh my gosh, I can die for them. They're amazing. And photographers, because obviously I do fashion photography. I love Alexei Lubomirsky. He's half Russian, half English, half Polish. That's why I love him so much. I'm joking. He can get this sparkle and this happiness from celebrities and from models who he photographed, and that's what I really like. This natural look, this happiness, and I think that's all fashion photography is about. You need to be natural, you need to be joyful, and you need to bring good positive energy into our life.
I love Midnight, and what he's doing with Show Studio is just brilliant. It's very inspiring. And right now I am taking inspiration from this woman photographer called Lola Alvarez Bravo. She's one of the first Mexican women photographers. Very photojournalistic way of shooting. Yeah.
Heels or flats?
Whatever's comfortable for you. Yes, I think it's just each woman to their own, like whatever suits you. If you love heels, stick to heels. If you love flats, stick to flats.
Good, okay, I think that's everything, but feel free to come up and ask questions at the end if you fancy it. But firstly, let's give them all a round of applause. Thank you very much, ladies.